So impact, it's pretty important if you're going to play some good golf. And today we're going to show you the 3 reasons why your impact is poor, and more importantly, how to fix those faults. There are literally no great golfers out there with a poor impact position, and vice versa. There's no 30 handicappers with a great impact position. So we might see some weird and wonderful golf swings out there, but we generally see the best players achieving the best or the most solid impacts, and that's what we're going to work towards in this particular video. So just before we get started, if you're new to my channel, I'd love you to be part of the community and part of my channel. It is absolutely free to subscribe. There is a link in the description box down below, so pop on down there now, give that a click, and a little bell icon. That just means you'll be notified when a new video gets uploaded, and I truly believe these videos can help you play some of the best golf of your life. So the lesson plan today is very simply to improve your impact, but we have to look at what precedes that in order to fix that poor impact. Poor impact is very often a result of some things that happened earlier. So we're going to look at some club face, we're going to look at some trail arm, and we're going to look at some body rotations. So let's get started with reason number 1 why your impact could be very poor. So what do we mean by a poor impact? Well, I'm sure we've all seen them, and you may be someone who struggles with it. We generally would see the handle gets too far back. We see the leader is very cupped. We often see the elbows or the arms kind of buckling or bent. And when we go just past impact, we get this very, very narrow looking, uncomfortable almost position, and often golfers communicate that as feeling very cramped. So the first reason you might struggle with that is because your club face could be open in the golf swing, and specifically more in the downswing, and that's what we're going to target in this particular video. I've got a T-peg which is just placed in between the Velcro and the back of my hand, so it's pointing out this way, and it's very simply going to give me a reference for where my lead hand is. So if your club face is open, here's what I want you to do in practice. When you get to the top of your golf swing, you're going to get that T-peg and you're going to point it as far upwards as you can. You can see I've got that T-peg pointing very much up towards the sky. That's created a bowing look to my lead wrist, and that in turn changes the club face. That club face is now also going to be pointing very much up towards the sky. What we need to do now is that T, which points up towards the sky, as we make our downswing, needs to feel like it points very much away from me, back almost towards that camera. If I start to move my wrist into the poorer position, see the T will start to point very much more in front of me. That's going to be a very open face. We tend to often see the club face opening in transition. We often see a golfer getting a good position at the top, and as they start down, as they pull on the handle, this T-peg starts to point in front of them. So your training is to go up to the top and get the T-peg up to the sky, and as you start down, feel it really pushes and rotates away from you. What that will do is it will get the club face starting to point down to the ground much sooner, and if you can do that, you are then able to get a much more solid impact position because you're not trying to rectify or fix a poor club face position in the golf swing. The second reason you might be struggling with a poor impact is because you might have a very, very steep club shaft in the downswing, and we are going to be addressing that, but we're going to be very much focusing on the trail arm and how that influences the club shaft. Just watch what happens if I find my downswing and we were to say that this was a pretty good shaft angle, a pretty good pitch in the club shaft. If I take my trail elbow, that's my right elbow, and move it out and up, we get the club shaft changing its angle quite considerably. Now, unfortunately, this would be a very much more common look than what we'd like to see here. So what we're really going to do in this particular exercise, we're going to work very much on this trail elbow and getting that to move better in transition in the downswing, because that's going to help the shaft angle and that's going to help our impact. So what we're going to get you to do is up to the top, and then I really want you to feel as if your left arm is going to stay in its position for a split second. We talk in a split second, you would never see a pause on camera. Up to the top, lead arm stays, but you try and push your right elbow down towards the golf ball. Notice how I'm moving my right arm, and notice how the shaft is reacting to that. I'm not intentionally moving the club shaft. I'm moving my right arm in such a way that it has an effect on the golf club. So when I go to the top, in practice, it would look a little bit like this. I'm going to do this very slow to begin with. Up, left arm stays, right arm rotates, and then we go through. And what you should see is a little bit of a change in angle of the club shaft. Now, this is something I need to practice, because if you see my golf swing, I don't do this. So please don't watch my golf swing and say I don't do it, because I'm aware of that. I'm working towards it. What you'd ultimately want to do is try and add that with a little bit less of a pause. We go up, and we start to get that club shaft shallowing, which enables you to rotate much better through impact, which brings us on to our third point. So the third reason that you may be struggling with impact is because your body doesn't rotate particularly well through the golf ball. Watch what happens to my lead arm when I start to rotate my body through the golf ball. My lead arm is moved also. If my body's moving, my lead arm is moving. So those golfers who struggle to get the handle forwards, it's often because they don't have enough body rotation. So as we start to rotate the body, the handle is encouraged to be more forwards. The other thing as well is if we have our arms traveling at a certain amount of speed, and obviously that club's going to be traveling at a fair few miles an hour, if the body is not rotating, those arms have got nowhere to go. So they end up having to do this. And that's why we see these kind of looks and these positions post-impact. If we can get the body to continue to rotate through and have some speed, we're able to get the handle forwards and keep some structure in the arms. And again, we see all the best players with structure in their arms. So this little drill, you're going to take a couple of tees, or anything fairly small would be good. You're going to place them underneath your arms. Now, when you take a setup, you almost can't feel those, but it's the awareness and it's trying to create some connection between the upper body and the arms. Now, from here, I'm going to feel that I maintain the distance between my elbows. I'm going to try and not let those separate. And I'm going to make some swings which would propel this ball some 50, 60 yards, but I'm going to feel as if I maintain the arm structure and I rotate to keep those tees in place. And there you can see my end position. If I rotate back a little bit, arms are structured, body's rotated, and that really helps me with my impact position because the body rotation is really going to help us with those things that we mentioned, the structure of the arms and the handle being more forwards. The bad news is that if you really struggle with impact, it could be that you suffer from all three. It's really common to see someone with the face open, the club shaft steep, the body stops, and those are the golfers that really, really struggle. So don't necessarily dive in and work on all three. Maybe look at your golf swing, maybe video it, and just see whether you can spot any of those three things happening, and then apply the right drill for you. It may be one, it may be two, it may be three. But if we can start to work on the cause, we start to improve the effect, which is the impact. And if you start to improve the impact, you start to improve the ball flight, you start to improve the ball flight, you start to hit it better, the scores come down, everyone's happier, everyone's enjoying it more, and the game becomes a lot more fun. So thanks for watching. Usual stuff is down below. I'd love to hear your comments on this particular video, and also please share this if you know someone who does struggle with that impact, that flicky kind of uncomfortable look. I'm sure they'll appreciate it, and I hope to see you back here again for another video soon.